And now we will learn all about sales receipts and undeposited funds. When do we give a sale receipt? Well, you don't have to be an attorney to know that you give a sale receipt when you render a service and the customer or client pays immediately. At the moment they pay, nothing is owed to or from the client. That means that when you record a sale receipt in QuickBooks, it will not show up in the client balance detail. When we record a sale receipt, our income goes up because we just rendered a service. And when we record a sale receipt, our money, our cash just went up. Otherwise, we would not have given a receipt if we were not just handed cash. However, if we deposit the money immediately, or at least in the same day, the cash in bank, which is the account in the chart of accounts that represents the money in the bank, is the account that will go up at the moment the income account goes up. And usually, we bring these types of checks to the bank right away, or we get a direct deposit. And then this way, the bank account goes up at the moment we record the bank account going up. For example, let's imagine on April 20, we did a $20 notary service for our good friend, Alan Arby. He paid immediately with a direct deposit into our bank account. We have to reactivate this account in the chart of accounts as well as the items list, because this was something that we created on our items list as a service and in our chart of accounts as another income account, and we made them inactive. So in order to be able to do that, we have to reactivate those accounts. So if you remember, we come here, list chart of accounts, and if we click down here to see the inactive accounts, we can see that income from notary service is there. We just deactivated it after we created it. But all we have to do is click on it, and in the bottom left, click Account, Make Account Active, and the check mark disappears, or the X disappears. Now when we remove the check mark to include inactive accounts, we still see income from notary service. Now we also have to reactivate it on the items list. Click List, Items List. Click the Include Inactive to see all the inactive items. Then click here to reactivate the notary service. Item, Make Item Active, and the X goes away. And now all items are active, and we're ready to record this sale receipt. So again, it's April 20, a $20 notary service for Alan Arby. Could not be more simple. From the main menu, click Customers, enter Sales Receipts. Very good. Now it's Alan Arby. The date is April 20. Very special day. And make sure it's 2017, because that's the year we're doing. This is our first sale receipt. And it was, the item was not legal service rendered. The item was notary service. And how much was it? $20. Push tab. But the most important thing you have to be careful about is the transaction specifically said it was immediately deposited with a direct deposit into the bank account. That's what it says up here. So we will not be using undeposited funds in this case. We will be using the Chase bank account. That's our operating account, and that's where the money goes after we perform a service. When we click Save and Close, we can open up the trial balance and we can see income from notary service shows up for the first time as $20. And if we double-click Cash and Chase Bank to get all the transactions that were deposited in the bank, we can see that the most recent one down here at the bottom was this sale receipt that we just did. Now, if we have a similar transaction, but we deposit the money later, then it will not be the cash in bank that will go up at the moment that we perform the sale receipt. Instead, If we are handed money that we will deposit several days later at the moment we give the service, the name of the account in the chart of accounts that goes up is called Undeposited Funds. And it's a current asset, it's an account in the chart of accounts, and it represents the money that we hold in our hand from the customer that we will in the future bring to the bank. On the day that we actually deposit the money, undeposited funds will then decrease because we don't have undeposited anymore. On that day, the money will be in the bank, and on that day, the cash in bank will go up. So let's take a look at an example of that situation. April 22nd, we did a $30 notary service for Betty Boop, and she paid us immediately with check 8765. Okay, and that means that income from notary will increase by $30, and undeposited funds, not cash in bank, will increase by $30. Let's take a look on how to do it here. Well, it's the same sale receipt that you're going to make. Customers, enter sale receipt. The date will be April 22nd. The customer is Betty. And the item is the notary service, and this time it's $30 rather than $20. But you have to be careful. If she gave us a check, you have to make sure that you click check and you put in the check number 8765. And because we got a check, we have to make sure that the deposit to says undeposited funds, because the money on April 22nd is not in this bank account. So if you put it there, it will not match the bank records. You have to put it in undeposited funds because this check is in your hand on April 22nd and you did not deposit the money on April 22nd. Save and close, and let's take a look. The trial balance shows income from the notary is now $50. You double click, you get both of these sales receipts because that's how we get our income from notary. And you also notice that our cash in bank has increased. And if we double click, the very last transaction is, oh Lord, it's not in cash in bank. Why? Because it's in this account instead, undeposited funds. Now in this example, there's another step. A few days later, we physically deposited the check that we got from Betty into the bank account. And when that happens, undeposited funds will decrease by $30 and go back down to zero, and the cash in bank will finally increase by that $30. Let's take a look. From the main menu, click Banking, Make Deposit. Now, when you click Make Deposit, two windows open up. The first window is called the Payments window, and if you close it out, you could always reopen it by clicking here in the second window, Payments, because you have to get through this window first. This window here is simply a list of every individual item that's still sitting in undeposited funds. You might use this other window separately from undeposited funds in other situations, and I strongly urge you to watch the supplemental videos in the area of banking for banking situations that any company has, not just a law firm. But in this window, Payments to Deposit, this is what's in undeposited funds. We click the check mark on each individual item that we're physically bringing to the bank. And then we click OK, and it puts it in the main deposit window. If we had any other things to deposit, we would list them here. But that's it. It's being deposited into this particular bank account on April 25th, and this is the check from the client or customer that we're depositing. When we click Save and Close, we can see from the trial balance, look, the undeposited funds has now gone down to zero. It was 30 when we got the check, and then it decreased by 30 when we deposited the check. And you can see the cash in bank, The very last item is this $30 on April 25th, and it was a deposit that came from undeposited funds. Now, the deposit detail report is the best. So, we will open up the deposit detail report because anytime you deal with deposits, that's the report to check. Reports, banking, deposit detail. And if I push A for all to get the results of all regardless of date, you can see every single time our bank account increased, whether it be through a payment, a sale receipt, or a deposit, that's listed here. And you will see if you have deposits where you deposit several checks at once, this report will help you through your bank reconciliation. And one final note, the supplemental videos show every banking issue you and any other company would need. And I urge you to take your time and go through the banking videos to make sure you're comfortable with this topic. Congratulations! You have completed the course, and if you remember and understand everything, you are an expert in QuickBooks, and you have everything you need to keep books and records of any law firm.